I remember having coffee with a friend of mine. This was my first year in ministry. And he wasn't a Christian person, but we met for coffee, and he said to me how he was beginning to recognize that the needs in his life were all spiritual in nature. The struggles in his life were all spiritual in nature. And he described to me how he was never fully at peace. He was always searching. He was always longing for something. But the frustrating thing for him was that he just didn't know where to go. He didn't know where to go where he could find this soul deep satisfaction that he was looking for. You know, in our Psalms this morning, it articulates very much that same thing. We read Psalm 42 and 43, which in the Hebrew manuscripts are often listed as one psalm, so we read those two together. But you see this refrain going through the entire Psalms, which is, "Why are you downcast, O my soul? And why so disquieted within me?" The psalmist does well to articulate this deep sense of longing that they have. As the deer pants for flowing streams, so my soul longs for you, O God, the living God. You know, have you ever felt that sense of spiritual disquietment, this kind of soul deep discouragement? Have you ever looked at your spiritual life and thought, it's not as robust or as active as you would like, that you just want something more? I think it's common. You know, there's a study in 2004 that said about 25% of all churchgoers feel stalled in their life of faith. And there's a sense of disquietment that we all feel. And honestly, I think that's probably gotten a little bit higher since the pandemic. We all have this sense of restlessness. The psalmist asks, "Where can I go to meet with God? Where can I go to find this deep satisfaction to my soul that I'm longing for?" You know, would it shock you to know that for the psalmist, the place to go is the temple? The psalmist talks about all of this discouragement and all this disquietment within him, but then he says, "But I remember journeying to the temple. I remember joining the festive throng of worshipers." At one point he prays, "Let your light lead me and let it guide me." And then he says, "Let it lead me to your holy hill, to the place where you dwell." Then he says, "Then I will go to the altar of God. I will go to God, my joy and my delight." You know, for the psalmist, when he was feeling so disquieted, so internally restless, the place that he wanted to go was the temple. Because it wasn't just a place. The temple was a place where he could be certain that he would meet God face to face. He would be joining in the worship and thrust into God's almighty presence. You know, could it be that simple? Could it be that simple that when we are feeling discouraged and disquieted in our souls, that the place to go is church? Because it's not just a building here. This isn't just a location on a map. When we come into the church, we meet God face to face. We are ushered into the presence of God, who is our joy and who is our delight, and who can satisfy those deep longings that we have within us. So if you are in the Calgary area, and if you are feeling disquieted or discouraged this morning, then I want to invite you to join us at Holy Cross. Come at 10 o'clock and come into this church and maybe meet God face to face. If you are outside of Calgary area, if you are or not able to make it this morning, then we do encourage you to join our live stream, which is at 10 o'clock on YouTube. Just find Holy Cross Calgary and you'll find us there. But wherever you are or how discouraged you might feel, may you know that God is with you. May you know that God is drawing you closer to God's self. And may the blessing of God be always on you. Hope to see you soon.